Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast.
Okay, today we're going to be interactive. I need you to draw something for me. So I want you to take a piece of paper, and from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, I want you to draw a line that cuts the paper into a top and a bottom. And then after you've done that, in the middle of the paper, in the middle of that line, I want you to draw a 0. Not small, not large, just kind of medium. All right. Go with me on this, girl. And then on the left-hand side, from that 0 all the way to the edge of the paper, I want you to write the numbers 1 through 5, like it's a gradient, but I want you to write a minus sign in front of each one. So it's a -1, it's a -2, it's a -3. So the -1 starts next to the 0, and the -5 is all the way at the edge of the paper. And then on the other side, I want you to do the same thing with 1 through 5, but I want it to be a plus. A +1, a +2, a +3, a +4, a +5. Okay. The negative side is when we give. And we all need to give. We all need to offer. Not because the person, place, or thing is requiring us to. We give because it's who we are. And then over on the plus side, we take. And we all need to be taking. We all need to make our expectations known. We all need to be able to receive, but the only way you can do that is to take. But there are different levels of giving and taking. So the -1 and the +1 are very healthy. In fact, you're actually supposed to be very fluid and move back and forth between those two. But on the negative side, when you get to a -2, now you're giving, but you're giving out of a sense of requirement. And there might be anger with it. And anger is so good. Oh my gosh. That is the one emotion women are not taught how to handle. We're taught to be sad and then to be depressed. But anger, yeah, it's great because anger says a boundary has been violated around something you value. So when you get angry, you either need to look at what do you need to do about that boundary, or what is it you need to do about the value? Because sometimes you're getting angry over stuff that you used to value, but it's no longer important in your life and you need to let it go. And sometimes you're getting angry because that boundary needs to be reinforced or there need to be consequences, and you need to be the one that is enforcing the consequences instead of consistently paying them. Okay. A 3 and a 4, we've got levels of resentment, and we begin to lose hope in life. And then a -5 is when we move into a very dysfunctional codependency way of living. Okay, now let's look over at the plus side. +1 is great. You need to have people feed into your life. You need to tell them that they're supposed to be doing this. But if you go to a +2, we need to be careful. Now, there can still be anger with that, but it's anger from a sense of entitlement where you think you should have something. And we need to look at what has you feeling like you're entitled to someone acting, fulfilling your requests. And let's bring it back down into a value that everybody can agree on. Keep in mind, every single conflict, whether it's within yourself, with another person, every conflict, a conflict between countries is simply a conflict between values. That's all it is. So we have to begin to rectify what it is that we value and decide, do we want this person to still be in our life? And what role are they going to play if they're going to continue to let us down? Because the sense of entitlement will have them feeling like they need to give to you, but from a negative 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right. Now, when you move to a plus 3 and 4, we're beginning to see the emergence of narcissistic tendencies. And I have a feeling that's not you, because you lose your sense of awareness that you're actually engaging in that way, and you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. A plus 5 is narcissistic personality disorder. I know quite a bit about this because I actually lived with one for a number of years. There are 2 types of narcissists. There's the overt, the grandiose, and then there's the covert, which is the closet, which is a little bit stealthier, and they get to act like the victim and have you step up and consistently give to them in a way that turns very unhealthy. Okay. So the challenge is you can become polarized on one side. And if you're listening to this podcast, you've been polarized for pain by giving. You've been over on the negative side. You don't give because it's who you are. You give because you are hoping to get. Wait, what? No, Dawn, I was giving because I wanted to maintain the peace. Yeah, don't rock the boat. That's what you were hoping to get. You weren't giving because it's who you are, and it's just a natural expression of the healthy you. You were giving because out of fight, flight, freeze, or appease, you were wanting to appease. You were hoping that someone would finally see how phenomenal you are and give you what you've been missing all these years. But dysfunctional givers at a 2, 3, 4, or 5 attract dysfunctional takers at a 2, 3, 4, or 5. And it's not your fault. It's not. Because somewhere along the line, you experienced an imprint where someone saw the best parts of you, how phenomenal and caring you are, and your brilliance about seeing the unspoken needs of others. And they weaponized that and they used it against you. And now your RAS is hypervigilant for people that might need you in a way that will have you paying the price for them, thinking that maybe you will finally get a few crumbs of what you've been looking for this entire time. So I want you to notice when you give. Are you giving out of your brilliance? Because when you do, you will never run dry. You know, I had a friend who was going through some rough times a few weeks ago. And there were 2 nights in 1 week where I was at a diner at 10 p.m. all the way to midnight. Waffle House, gotta love their steak and grits at midnight. And I was listening to her tell her story because she needed somebody to create a safe place for her. But I told her, hey, I can't have a 3rd night because, you know, typically I can start as early as 6 a.m. with my clients. And I can't be with you at midnight and then functioning for them if it's been several nights in 1 week. I can do it a couple of times, but I can't do it more than that. Keep in mind, boundaries, the number one reason for a boundary is to keep you safe. So you have to move from the -1 over to the +1, where you draw a boundary and you're asking people to step up and recognize that boundary that you've just drawn around what you value. Okay, if you want assistance with this, on how not to be polarized for pain, but actually be able to move over to the other side where you can start asking for what it is you need and receiving it, then reach out to me. Let's have a conversation about boundaries. Let's have a conversation of what it might look like working with me in what's known as an all access pass. And you can do that by texting me 1-636-699-7791. Let me know that you want to have a boundaries consult. Or you can go to canhypnosishelpyou.com or dawnlandrum.com and sign up for a consult that way. And then in the comments, let me know that you want a boundary consult. And let's start getting you over into the receiving side, because women cannot achieve until they receive. We're supposed to take energy in, but if you're taking in nothing but energy that depletes you, you're not going to have anything next for your next level, because it is going to require more of you than what you have right now. So until we get together, blessings on your brilliance as well as your journey.